So, hi everyone. It's the Node.js release work group meeting on the 1st of August 2019. And we've just got one item on the agenda today, but there might be some other bits to discuss afterwards. So, hi everyone. It's the Node.js work group meeting on the 1st of August 2019. And we've just got one item on the agenda today, but there might be some other bits to discuss. So that was playing back the live stream. I never have much luck with these. Can you all hear me fine now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so the one item on the agenda in Node.js release is the release survey. Let's open it. I think we just need some of us to respond to this.
That's correct. That's what we discussed last time.
Yeah. Do you think it'd be worth using this meeting time to go through and see if anyone has any comments on any of each of the individual questions?
We could do that. There's just one more thing as well that I have on the agenda is pretty much when to do the next current release and another one. So we spoke about having some sessions for the LTS introduction pretty much, and I couldn't join the first one. Okay. I don't know if there was another one. We could have
there's a regular time slot. I can get you added to the invite. It's every 2 weeks. I think we've only had 2.
Yeah.
So we can.
So that would be nice because I know I was invited to the first one, but not the second one.
Yeah, Miles has the meeting invite of that one, so I'll have to ping him, but he won't be back until next week, and I think that's when the next one's due to happen, next Tuesday.
Okay,
but I can figure out the time.
Add that already. Do you know the time as well?
For me, I think it's 4 p.m. So that's 4 p.m. UK time. So
UK is UTC +1, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. But I can send you the time on Twitter or something. I might even be able to.
That would be nice.
The video link.
Yeah. Cool.
Sure. Should we? I guess we could quickly look at the release schedule for 12 then.
Mm-hmm.
We want to plan. So we had one due yesterday, but I guess it didn't happen.
I could start one today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that, but it will probably just be done tomorrow. What do we have today? It's Thursday, yeah.
If it's easier, I don't think it's like bad if we go 2 weeks between each release, because this one only came out last week, so.
That's true. Yeah.
2 weeks is fine, whatever's easiest for you.
I could definitely do, let me check on the 13th, but that's actually 2 weeks then. So we might, So the next one is only for 1 week, so yesterday, but then afterwards it's 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we could bump the calendar just to go every 2 weeks if that's easier. I don't know what people prefer. How many commits are typically in the current releases? I haven't done many for 12.
Around about 90 per week.
Okay. Is it? Do we get backlogged with all of the backporting the majors, leaving it at 2 week intervals, or is that still manageable?
I think that's manageable normally. At least I don't know that we have a lot of conflict so far.
Okay, that seems okay then. Maybe
I mean, I did 12.5, so maybe Michael knows something else because he did the last 2.
Well, let me check. He's not in the waiting room. Nope. So yeah, so maybe bump this to the following Tuesday.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
Yep. I'll go through and change the dates rather than bringing up my calendar now.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably bump the following release, and I'll add a couple more entries every 2 weeks from then, because I think it's fine. Because if we accidentally break a release or a big bug comes up, then that gives us the week in between to do another release rather than doing 2 releases in a week if something breaks.
Yeah, I'm
So
good with that.
I think that works pretty well. I did open an issue of final Node.8 scheduled release. So just wondering if people thought it was a good idea to round up all of the backports that are currently open for Node.8 and land them all and just pull them out in a really small release.
When is release scheduled?
I was thinking August, but that could easily be September. What I was trying to avoid is not doing a release in like November, December, just before it goes end of life.
Are we only pulling in patches or also minors?
I think these are all patches. I think it would be preferable to just do a patch.
Because there would be one that I would be interested. I still have to backport that one to 10, and that's the unhandled rejection flag. I guess it should land first in 10, but it's not. It's fine because 10.6.1 is out soon, right? Or is it already out?
10.16.1.
That's the next one, right?
That came out yesterday evening.
Right. So then there's one more patch.
No, we're going to go straight to a minor, 10.17 in August.
Okay. Then I'll open the backports.
Or 10. Okay, that works.
And
yeah, I think, to be honest, there was a bit of pushback before on us doing a late release during maintenance of Node 6. So I think we should probably stick to trying to keep the final Node 8 scheduled release to be a patch rather than a minor. If there's already pushback before of us doing a release at all, then maybe stick
I'm fine with that. I think the main point is really it was 10.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. And is there anything else people want to call out, and then maybe we'll go back to the release survey and talk about that a little bit more?
Could we promote Targos from attendees? Thank you.
All good. There we go. Sure. So any other of the issues on the backlog anyone wants to call anything out on just while we have time? I guess the proposal for changes to LTS, does that link to your release survey, Ruben?
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the 4 options.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll just go into the release survey.
It's like, Manil, you should know that the survey that the Node Foundation sent out, or the OpenJS Foundation sent out, is already out, right? Because there was one planned. Do you know that?
Do you mean for this year, Ruben?
Yeah. Yes, for this year.
I am not sure, but I don't remember getting any emails about it, but I could check.
Okay.
Okay. Ruben, would you like to go through these options for how we can change how we do the release process?
Okay, so the first one is just how we are currently doing releases, pretty much. And I also had hoped that we all filled it out a little bit more. This is just a rough saying how it currently is. So we have the active LTS, one Xamarin Minor each 3 months, and normally 2 patch releases in between. And then the complete time frame, I didn't have it handy right when I wrote that. You might know that and just edit it. I suggest we just immediately edit the issue.
Okay.
And then we have maintenance LTS, one patch release, as far as I know, and security releases afterwards, like each so many months. I don't know anymore. And for how long? I don't know that either anymore. I have to look it up. Yeah, what we do is to never really rebase on the actual release branch, but only on the staging branch for that. So that the release branch is always a source of truth and it's a continuing thing instead of having only the tag. That's the current way of doing it.
Yep.
There's some concerns from our side. As far as I know, it's the current release process is, especially for LTS, difficult to handle at times because we always have to review every commit and we have to make sure we backport them properly. And it's very, very time consuming and sometimes also difficult not to break something.
Yeah. Prone to conflicts as we're not landing some and landing commits out of order.
Yeah. Easily outdated, pretty much.
Yeah. Easily outdated. And what I would add is the current process gets like progressively worse over time.
Yes, significantly.
More prone to conflicts, etc. So in terms of the time frame, is this the time frame for active LTS?
Yes.
I think it's 18 and then 12
months.
For maintenance.
Months, right?
Oh yeah.
And
I'll just double check that on the release.
Yeah. But is it a combined time? 18 months plus 12 months?
How long it's in, that would be how long it's in LTS, right?
Is it? Because that means we have 3 years LTS. I thought it would be a combined time of 2 years, no?
No, it's 3 years, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And I think what Miles's proposal was we switch these two and have longer in maintenance than we do in active. And this time frame, what's this one referring to?
I think it's the total, yeah. I mean, maybe we should do, active LTS has the time frame, then maintenance LTS has the time frame, and afterwards it's the total time.
Okay.
The 1.4 is the total. Maybe not LTS, but the complete one, even with current, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, true.
I think that's 6 months normally. So 6 months plus, so we have 30 months in total, 3 years. No, 3 years. Wait, 18, 12?
Yeah.
So we have 36, 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. So, okay, yeah, 3 years in total.
Yeah.
And it's 6 months in, 6 months in current, 18 in active, is that correct? Yeah. And then a year in maintenance. Yeah.
Yes. So 30 months.
Is it fair?
36 months, yes, sorry. Yeah. 36 months. Right. Yep.
Okay. And we've written
and this is confusing though, because this is active, so it means like non-LTS LTS active maybe.
first 6 months current.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, and then the next one, proposal to change the time. That's from Miles, the proposal, and where he suggested to switch the timeframes for active LTS and maintenance LTS. The reason is pretty much the concerns of the first one, to address that by having to backport less commits after a while, because it becomes so difficult to actually do that.
Yeah.
Maybe we should not only have concerns, but also pros and cons.
Yeah. So I wonder if just kind of want to add a bit more detail.
Yeah.
If we can. I'll be optimistic and put the put that first. So if we look at the pros first, I would say it's somewhat more reflective of what we're doing at the moment for 10. Because we're already at the point where we're only backporting like major bugs and specific requests.
We could probably also write that on the top, like in the current release process, that we mainly backport things after a while on specific requests and not anymore in a general fashion.
After some time during Node.js. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's one benefit of it, because we're kind of already doing this anyway. We're not backporting everything, and if that's what we deem active LTS to mean, is backporting all of the minors and patches that land on the current release line, then we're not actually keeping to that for the full 18 months. And in fact, I think it's like 1,500 commits still on Node 10, and we're only, well, we're less than a year into its active.
Yeah.
So we're already 9-10 months in. Well, from about 9 months in, we'd already gone past the point where we will ever catch up.
Right.
So.
And it's very hard to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said 1,400 commits is the current status that you're behind?
Yeah. The ones that need auditing. We can probably pull up the guest.
So that's like 4 months pretty much in poor commits.
Yeah, they're all, and all of them are conflicting. Like every single one I go to land is conflicting.
Wow. Yeah, that's really, really bad. So it's very error prone, I would say, very error prone. That's also the current one.
Yeah.
Backporting is very error prone for each conflict.
Yep. Do you see any other pros to shortening the active?
I don't see really any negative side to it.
Is it maybe the perception that users will miss out on features?
That could be the case. Maybe, maybe not. So the total time would be 18 months, so half of the time. I personally felt, I don't know how you all felt about that, but with 6, in the end, it felt like 6 felt so far behind
Yeah.
that it was really a pain if someone still uses it.
Yeah.
And we all hoped that it soon would, that we stopped maintaining it at all and to drop support for it, and because then people could move on to 8. And therefore, just switching the time around might actually worsen that people might sooner have the feeling, okay, people should actually switch to the next newer version. That might be a good and a bad thing at the same time, maybe, because some people might actually indeed switch to the newer version due to that reason.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it might also be that, yeah, I don't know.
I've had discussions, I think in the release meetings before, I think we had, and people see both sides. The one side is if you only put the new features into the new releases and not into the really old ones that are about to go end of life or in maintenance, then that's an incentive for people to move up and use the new features. But then it also harms migration because use those new features, they might have to cope with some breaking changes as well. And they can't like trial a new feature on an old release line because it won't be there.
Yeah, so I guess it's a good and a bad part. It's a pro and con at the same time.
I agree with that. But do you think that in reality it will change something?
Probably not a lot.
Concerns. Okay. We pop down to the next one.
Should we maybe rename concerns to cons? Or, I mean, I don't know, pros, cons.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Proposal to allow the release branch to be rebased for each Semver minor to add a separate. Is this
That's my suggestion how to do it. So in this case, we would have to okay, how do we start again? We would stop having the actual release branch as the only source of truth. We would only have the tag as source of truth, what commits are in the actual release, because we would rebase on top of the release branch for every Zemver patch, for every Zemver minor after the Zemver patch release. And that would allow us to backport more commits that results in less conflicts and to have less out of order commits also.
Does this mean that we would be changing the order of the commits potentially after they've already gone out to release in a release in one order? Would we then release the minor with those exact same patch commits but potentially in a different order?
Yeah.
Instead of rebasing, why don't we merge the staging into the release branch?
That could cause new conflicts that we have to resolve then, because
no, it's usually you have less conflicts when you merge than when you rebase, because when you rebase you have to handle them commit by commit.
So let me explain how I would do it again. I mean, there's the open PR for it. So we start off with Zenver minor releases in the beginning, and we release that release, okay, and now we want to have a patch release. That's the
But
difference.
okay, I stop you because why would we want to have a patch release and especially a patch release? I mean, minor versus patch depends on what you put in the release, not what you want to have as a release.
Yes.
This is a difference between LTS. So based on how LTS has kind of happened in the past, we've avoided doing too many minors. So we purposely say we will do one patch release, another patch release, and then every third release will be a minor. And this means that the minors come in after a load of patches out of order. That's just how it's done at the moment.
So it's mainly
so
about
it's just something that's being done practically, but it's not in the plan or anywhere else. I don't see it written in the repo.
I think somewhere we state that we try to do one minor per quarter. And I think that roughly translates to the every third release because we're trying to do a release per month for LTS. But there was some pushback when we suggested let's just do more minors and release things in order.
But I'm sorry, I just realized it's the fourth point actually in this issue.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can talk about it later.
Sure. Okay.
So, yeah, and this was mainly a suggestion to have. So the pros are less conflicts, significantly less conflicts, and that is hopefully less error prone. And it's easier to backport more things by doing that. That's the pros for this. How it's done is outlined in the reference pull request, and it would actually mainly benefit the LTS releases, not the current ones, because in the current we already do only minors, and when we stay, when we always make sure that we don't have out of order commits, that's a very important part out of my perspective, that we always stick to the correct order, then there are almost no conflicts, or at least very seldom. And that makes it much more easy. When we have a Zenver patch release in between or multiple, the problem then is to actually get all the Zenver minors from in between. And if we would do a merge afterwards, we would have conflicts that would only happen due to having those patch commits that were landed after a Zenver minor in between. Did everyone get that?
Yeah. But does that mean?
Have you tried it?
No, I did not try
because
it.
I'm not sure about that. The commits are already on the release branch, so you're only merging the Zenver minor ones.
I mean, I could try it. I can just create a scenario for it and try a merge commit. What would happen? In the end, we could overwrite every change. But
because I understand it's maybe you're right, and it is much easier, but that's I think we should put that in the pros, that there would be less conflicts.
Yeah.
But in the cons, one thing that I like about GitHub is that you can take a commit and open it, and all the tags that it's in.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that we would lose this ability.
Is it really gone due to that? Because the tag should still be there, right?
Yes, but if you rewrite the history, then you change the commit hash.
Yeah.
And so it's not the same.
Everything above where the first Zenver minor comes in would have a different hash, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so the patch commits would be on the patch releases would have a different commit hash
Yeah.
than the following Zemver miner. That's a that's a concern. Yeah. We could outline which ones we would lose metadata for the commit hashes for that landed in the Zemver patch releases only.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it possible that we could? Do we plan to slot the Semver miners in the place where they would have landed had we have just landed them all in order? Is this what we plan to do? Slot them into the correct place.
Yeah.
Does that mean we could risk changing the behavior of things, even if they land cleanly?
We always have that with out of order commits, and we could always change the behavior. Every out of order commit could
Change
be
behavior in some way.
Yes. That's actually a concern from our current one as well.
Yeah. I'll add that up here.
Yeah. In the pros, we can also add that people would be able to backport commits, Semver minor commits closer to the point in time when it landed on current or master. I don't know.
Yeah. There are two more points that this proposal allows to do, because with this proposal, it is possible to land all the commits in order. That is not possible with the current way. It's not like it's a possibility. It doesn't mean it will happen, but it's possible from that moment on, which is not currently possible.
Yeah.
We will still have missing commits though, right? There will still be.
Well, we would miss the Semver major ones and the commits that depend on them.
Yep.
So basically, the staging branch would be handled much more like the current one.
Yes. It's almost like the current one.
That's probably a pro, actually.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't really like landing out of order could change behavior and the cons. It's not specific to 3. Actually, we could overcome that problem with that proposal.
But maybe that's not what I meant on this one. Where is it? I've lost it.
Yes, technically you could still land Semver patch commits that change behavior because a minor is not there, and then it's different.
Oh yeah, that's changing. Yeah. I think what I mean is changing the order. Changing the order of commits could change behavior.
Yeah, but like that's not a problem for the Zemver minor releases. It would be a problem for the patch releases, because then we miss the Zemver minor commits in between.
But could slotting a minor in somewhere where it wasn't before still possibly change behavior of the patches, depending what it touches?
Yeah, I don't fear updating forward in a way. That's a rebase part, you know. So I don't really fear that there is any problem in that, because that would indicate that something wrong is going on master as well, or at least without a Zemver major commit in between, that something would be wrong. So we would have a faulty backport.
Okay.
So I don't really, I don't fear that point in this proposal. I don't know how you see it in them.
Maybe we could give it a try and see what happens when we try and merge things in. I'm a little bit cautious of it. But that might not be an issue. Maybe it's just something that I'm being overly cautious about.
So with the merge thing, we could try that. So we should have that maybe as a like 3.3 or 3.4 actually, because cons is 3.3. That we could try to not rebase, but instead merge, if that would solve our problem as well.
Okay.
Shall we take a note for it, or I don't know?
Yeah, what would you like me to jot down for that one?
I would write 3.4, and say that we should, instead of rebasing, we could also try to merge any clean Zember miner on top of the patch release and see if that causes more conflicts or not.
Sure. Okay, should we go on to the next one? I'm just looking at the time. We got like 12 minutes. I think
Yes.
this is something we're going to need to come back to a few times.
Yeah.
I wonder whether a good time to try these things would be just before 12 goes into LTS. Like we could try merging things in and see how it.
We could have a playing ground just as a new release. We can we can open a new branch, and on that branch we could play around with it.
Yeah, I think that might be worthwhile. For 12, 10, I think we can't even play with 12 at the moment because it's completely diverged. So I think
I agree.
Yeah, let's do that with 12.
let's. I don't know where to add that, but put that here. Okay, the last one is proposal to always create Semver minor releases. I think this might be one I raised. At the moment, as I mentioned earlier, in LTS, we say one Semver minor per quarter. And as a result, we end up doing patch minor, which means things will inevitably end up out of order. I don't see an issue myself with doing regular miners. And in fact, while it's inactive, I think it makes sense to do regular miners because then we pull back the features in the same order and people can. I think there's an expectation when something's in LTS active that everything's going to be pulled back, and making people wait for Semver miners without any particular reason doesn't seem to make sense. There is the other side where there's concern from enterprises. I know Miles has mentioned this one, that they are more happy to upgrade to a new patch version than they are to a minor because they deem a patch less risky than a minor release. So I'll add that concern.
Yeah, but then Sam wrote something interesting, and I agree with him, is that you are less likely to introduce a bug in an existing feature when you do a minor than when you do a patch.
Yep, I agree. That would probably be a pro, wouldn't
And
it?
I don't know if enterprises are base their decisions on other runtimes that use a different way to decide between minors and patches. I don't know if you have more information about that.
To be honest, with the people I work with, they don't want to upgrade full stop. They don't care if it's a minor or a patch they have to upgrade to. If they don't need to upgrade, they will try and avoid it.
The same is my perspective, that most people just don't want to update if they don't really are forced to update.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd really like to have Miles talk about that, because he mentioned managed runtimes, and that's something special, because when you use a managed runtime, you cannot decide if you upgrade or not. It's done for you. And maybe at Google Cloud, they are afraid to upgrade when it's a minor.
Yeah. The pros of this are less out of order commits.
I would not even say less, but and the least from all proposals. This is going to solve our out of order and also have least conflicts of all proposals.
Okay. What are the pros? Features are brought back to Node.js in a more timely manner.
Yeah.
And it's not only features; it's also fixes, because if you don't have conflicts, it's easier to merge everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Manuel. Speak to you later. Just seeing you're dropping off.
Oh, yeah. I'll see you around.
See you, folks. Bye.
Bye.
So, maybe go as far as saying,
There's one more downside for the current one as well.
what, the first entry?
Yeah. We did land, yeah, well, it is actually already written down with the error prone, because we often get empty commits when you backward something, because we land a commit, and when we backward something, we normally take the current version of the code or whatever it is, instead of the actual thing at that point of time that conflicted. And that means there might have been a patch in between or a commit in between that we then backward as well at that moment. And things become confusing, and we sometimes even make more mistakes due to that. So even a fix could become another problem afterwards.
Sure. I think I've vaguely written that down in that point.
At least in 11, I've seen that very frequently.
Yeah. Okay, I will copy that. I will save that here. Just make sure. It
Yeah,
saves.
so we could update even more. So if any one of you has more points or things that should be added as well,
Yeah,
I think we should do that.
I might reformat it a bit because it seems to have not
Yeah.
not in the clearest. But yeah, and then maybe CC people like Miles, especially for the managed runtimes, and invite him to add comments. I know he's still out on vacation, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything else people want to mention today? Or?
Yes, can we talk briefly about the release plan for V12?
Yep, I think we mentioned that just before you joined the call.
Okay.
We wondered whether pushing the next release along by a week. So
Yeah, I was going to propose that.
Okay.
Okay.
So that will be 6th of August.
And maybe Ruben, do you have time next week to prepare it?
Yes,
I don't.
I do that. I already said it earlier.
Okay. And then push the following
Can
one.
you add my name as well?
Yep.
Thanks a lot. And we should probably also say the next one is very likely 12.8.
The 12.7 went out last week, right?
Yes.
Yes. And yeah, I hope that we will have the V8 update in the next one, so it will definitely be a minor.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Sure, awesome.
Do we already know? Like, I think it would be ideal if we can already also have someone for the last current. Let me check. That one might be difficult for me because I'm going to be on a conference at that time.
Okay, I might have time, but it's not the last one. It's just the last one in this list, but
yeah, that's true.
There will be more.
So on the 20th is difficult. The week before is possible, and the week after is possible for me.
I might be able to find time to do a current release. Yeah, at the moment. So I'm trying to schedule a time in for 8.16.1 to pick up all of the old backports. And I'm thinking August. And then we've got a 7th minor of Node 10.
For Node 10 is on the 6th already. Okay, I have to do that. So.
The release candidate, yeah.
Yeah, that's still true.
But the 10 releases are really shrinking in size. The release I did last night only had about 35 commits in it because it's got to the point I just land all the backports, the things that are tagged with LTS watch, instead of going through the whole list and just pulling those back.
Yeah, makes sense. It's probably just too much work otherwise.
Yeah, or looking for any like notable bug fixes or anything like that. And I think that's how we're going to have to work with 10, unfortunately.
Do we have a release date for the first Node 12 LTS?
I don't know. Maybe that's.
Okay, 22nd.
Yeah, that's the start date of LTS. Do we? Oh, we do an actual LTS release, don't we? Because we have to change the flag. The is LTS flag in Node source, don't we, or Node version?
Yeah. So the last current one should be 2 weeks before that, right?
Yeah, or roughly. Yeah.
Okay. I will update the schedule until then.
Yeah, that's good.
Thanks. Okay, we're at time. Really good meeting. Got a lot written down there. Discussion points and things to take forwards. So thanks for joining, everyone. And I'll write up a few minutes, but I think most of the minutes are just going to point to the doc or issue we've just added all our info to.
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you later.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Have a good day. Bye.